Good morning, everyone. Maayong buntag Cebu. And good day to all of our viewers all over the world. We are so glad to have you all with us today. We are live right now via Zoom and on Facebook through Mandani Bay's official Facebook page. I'm OJ Zimofranca, and I'll be your host for this morning. And welcome to the fifth episode of Rise webinar series presented to you by Mandani Bay. Now, we all know the COVID-19 pandemic has certainly impacted almost all aspects of our lives, including how we do business and events. And with all these physical distancing guidelines, among other health protocols, the new normal has prompted most organizations to shift its gears and maximize the use of digital tools to ensure safe and convenient business transactions. Now, as it pushes for a seamless return to operations, Mandani Bay has recently launched its reboot campaign with the battle cry, hashtag Together We Move Forward. Mandani Bay believes that in these unprecedented times, there is nothing more important than working together and taking care of each other. Cautiously and responsibly, we will move forward with gratitude, purpose, and hope that we will bounce back bigger, bolder, and stronger and get back on our feet sooner along with the rest of the world. Now, this webinar series called Rise is built on Mandani Bay's promise of world-class transformation. As we rise and move forward in this one direction that we are headed, Mandani Bay continues to rise and build a vision of a world-class lifestyle destination that will make Cebu and the entire country proud. Ladies and gentlemen, Mandani Bay is a world-class 20-hectare waterfront township development strategically located along the Mactan Channel in Mandawi City, Cebu. Mandani Bay's newest residential tower, Mandani Bay Key Tower 3, offers fully furnished studio units and one-bedroom units. It also offers the development's first fully furnished units that still allow for personalization and provide buyers with more room for flexibility. Now, to know more about one, but Mandani Bay Key Tower 3, let us all watch this.
This is Mandani Bay Key, the first mixed-use enclave in Mandani Bay, Asia's next waterfront destination. Located along F. East Willig Avenue in Mandawi City, Mandani Bay Key gives its homeowners maximum access to and from the city. The enclave has 3 residential buildings, 1 office tower, and at the center, the active zone. Its exclusive amenity deck filled with outdoor spaces and features that help tenants keep an active, healthy lifestyle. Mandani Bay Key completes its 4-tower cluster with a new residential building, Mandani Bay Key Tower 3. This tower, which offers a beautiful view of the sunset, has 36 floors. The ground level holds the residential lobby and is host to retail. Ground level parking is for retail customers and visitors, and the basement and second levels are for residents. 27 levels are dedicated to the residential units. These residences are classified into standard, garden, and penthouse. The penthouse units are the biggest units and offer the most expansive views. The garden units each have an outdoor space that can be used to create a garden or alfresco dining area. The standard units, studio, studio plus, and 1-bedroom residences are fully furnished. This is a first in Mandani Bay. The living, dining, bedroom, kitchen, and toilet and bath areas of these units are designed by P-Tang Studio Limited, award-winning Hong Kong-based interior planner known for developing luxury living and commercial spaces in Asia. The fully furnished units will have smart TV with rack, dining set, and bed with mattress and bedside tables, among others. With a designer, life-ready home at Mandani Bay Key Tower 3, a resident simply has to move in when their unit is ready. For those who want more freedom to customize their space, 2-bedroom and bigger units are handed over semi-furnished. The fully furnished homes at Mandani Bay Key Tower 3 are not the only first in the new property. Developer HTLand enriches life in the community through a dedicated app that activates advanced accessibility features. With just one tap, a resident can book amenities, settle property fees, manage visitor access, and control their main door's Bluetooth lock set. These advancements at home deepen the way a resident experiences the benefits of living in Mandani Bay's expansive master planned community. Never has condo living in Cebu been this exclusive, secure, and elegant. Embrace seamless, elevated urban living in a world-class lifestyle destination through Mandani Bay Key Tower 3.
And that was Mandani Bay Key Tower 3, truly a complete lifestyle destination, your dream community in the metro where you can have everything you need for a safe, convenient, and luxury living. Now, in today's episode of Rise webinar series, we will be learning how to take advantage of opportunities during an economic upswing after the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so thrilled to introduce to you our speaker for today, who earned his bachelor's and master's degree in business management in the University of the Philippines, Cebu. He also worked for 13 years with 3M Philippines, handling a national post. He is a licensed broker and an avid financial and real estate investor himself. Currently, he is the assistant vice president of HTLand Incorporated, the developer of Mandani Bay, to share with us the Opportunists Guide to an Economic Upswing after the pandemic. Let us all welcome Mr. Audi Villa.
Good morning. Thank you, OJ. And thank you for giving people a hint on how old I am. It's a fine day, no? So we're going to talk about opportunities today, as usual. And I know that it's a sale day. It's 12/12, no? So I'm sure a lot of you there are readying your cash to maybe do some shopping in Shopee, Lazada, or somewhere else. Before that, let's talk about opportunities. But because once that money goes out, you need to make sure that that comes back in your pocket. So today is an exciting day. As mentioned by OJ, we have done the Rise series for how many times now, and this would be the last part for the year. And this, you can consider this as a recap of what has been presented, but at the same time, a few more inputs of what more opportunities we could take advantage of during this time of pandemic. Okay, so I think the very first thing is to address the elephant in the room, right? The title in itself says economic upswing. So, and a lot are still hesitant whether there will be a bounce back of the economy, or is it gonna drag for a long time, or won't there be an upswing? Really, is there really an economic upswing? So let me show you this. This is a 20-year history of all the crises in the Philippines that has transpired. For example, in 2000, I don't know if you remember the I Love You computer virus. Everyone was scared about that. There was a SARS outbreak, almost similar to what we have, the COVID-19 right now in 2020. And this was in 2003. There was also an H1N1 outbreak in 2009. And so much more, no? ZTE scandal, bombings, Resort World Manila attack, and all of that. And of course, in 2020, as they say, the most tragic year, the COVID-19. But if you take a look at the graph below, you would see that all the economic indicators, like OFW remittance, has always been increasing year on year on year, despite all these crises. The IT BPM revenue and the revenue from the IT and BPO industries has also been increasing. Look at that, from 2000, in year 2000, that's only $90 million, but now it's almost $30 billion. The index, the PSE, Philippine Stock Exchange, although there are ups and downs, but on a general trend, it's also been increasing. The GDP, look at that. In year 2000, the GDP was just around $1.6 billion. But look at that. In 2020, the GDP per capita is already at 3,000 US dollars per person. Okay, so there's a general trend of increase. And this, again, despite all the things that has happened, the crisis that's happened the past 20 years. So there is no way but a bounce back and up. Let's take a look at the GDP forecast for next year. Of course, this year, initially when the pandemic started, the economists were saying we're just going to grow by 2% this year. And the past years, we've been growing at an average of 6%. But what has actually happened, that was prior to the very early start of the pandemic. But now that the pandemic has happened, we actually didn't grow. We even contracted at 7.3%. Okay, so GDP, there was a negative growth of 7.3%. But in 2021, which is just a few days from now, starting a few days from now, we are expected to grow at 6.5. This was in September. But the latest update, which is a few days back, they are sticking at 6.5 GDP growth. And this, all the economists are saying, including our source here, which is ADB, Asian Development Bank. So as what they say, the bigger the fall, like what we're having now, that's negative 7.3 contraction, the higher the climb as well. So as someone who would be interested into opportunities, this is something very critical that we need to look into. When times that stock exchange go down, these are windows of opportunities that we could delve into so that we could benefit from all these opportunities. Let's also take a look at talking about the Philippine Stock Exchange. In May, around May or April, May, it went to as low as 4,000 plus. And now it's already beyond 7,000. So I myself actually has delved because, I was locked down. I couldn't go out. We were all in ECQ. So while still doing work from home, I could no longer enjoy the outdoors. So I decided to delve into real estate. I went in when the PSE was around 5,000 and went out when it was roughly around 6. I only have very few stocks remaining, which have already increased as well. So just to give you an idea, maybe in a span of 4 or 5 months time, I've already gained around 25% of what I invested here. So these are windows of opportunities that you could look into when times like this, crisis, pandemics are happening. Because when it falls, there's no way but it's going to go up. Now, if you're still not convinced that the economy is going to go up, there will be an economic upswing, let me show you this. This is the buzz in the social media, everywhere in the news, that the vaccines are already out. The top 3 are AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Pfizer. And it shows there the efficacy. Moderna as high as 94.5, the stability, their doses, and the prices. The prices, if you take a look at that, Moderna is the cheapest at around $45 dollars per dose, but this is the US price. And Pfizer is around 20, if that's times 50, around 1,000 peso a dose. So somehow this is affordable, right? But what I'm saying here is the vaccine is already being implemented out there, and they're already taking in the vaccine. In fact, the Philippine government has already announced that in the next few months will also start implementing the administration of vaccine as well. So if this doesn't convince you that there will be an economic upswing, I don't know what will. All right, so that's already a given. It's no longer a question of if there will be an economic upswing, but when. Now, when we talk about when, let us take a look at the different sectors that have been affected by this COVID-19. No, those the ones are which are in green are the better ones. No, they are, the effect is not very long term, mostly in the short term, and the impact, the financial impact of the crisis, the pandemic, is not that big. So of course, utility, food, construction, because these are basic. Agriculture, these are basic needs. But take a look at real estate there, and I'm gonna get back to this slide after the next few slides that I'm gonna show you. The real estate is very interesting. It doesn't fall really in the short term, but it's between short term and medium term. And in terms of impact, it's not as badly affected as, say, tourism or wholesale and retail. And there are a lot of opportunities here, which I'm going to show you. But before I'm going to show you that, let's take a look at all these sectors that have been growing despite the COVID-19. Financial and insurance services, look at that. Of course, people wanted to take in insurance to make sure that if they get sick, they will be taken care of. And at the same time, if and when they pass away, their family could be benefited. So that's on the rise. Construction, and the driver for construction is really the BBB. You know what this BBB is? This is the build program of the government. No, in construction spending is at its very high, because later on I'm going to show you how much the government is putting in money towards infrastructure. Professional business services, we're talking about BPOs here. On the contrary, a lot of people are thinking, BPOs are down. No, they're not. They're actually still growing. And the reason behind this is, companies abroad, because of the economic crunch, they're trying to downsize, right? They're trying to cut costs. And they turn into outsourcing their different departments somewhere else to make sure that they cut costs. And they turn to BPO for that. So that's why we are beneficiaries of this economic contraction that they have, because they are outsourcing the services to us here in the Philippines. Transportation and storage, no-brainer. If you can see, a lot of transportation services are on the rise now, and I also have a few slides of that later on. And of course, food service. The dine-in type of food service, they have suffered, but food in general is still growing, but it has taken on a different route. Dine-in has suffered a bit, but in a different route. The online orders, the deliveries are there to compensate. Now, if you take a look at this graph, obviously the badly hit is the tourism sector, hotels, the airline industry, because people are not allowed to travel. Most people are not allowed to travel. So, and this will take a little time, maybe a medium term. Let's say medium term, 2 to 3 years to get back. Earliest could be a year, but this is very highly dependent on the vaccine. So if the vaccine is out, everyone gets the vaccine, there's a very big chance that the tourism industry could be expedited. All right. Let's take a look at a few businesses, and these are the opportunities that are out for you to grab on. These are businesses which grew in the new normal. Everybody thinks, business is closed. We only hear the bad news. Right, there's bad news. Some business folded, but some businesses actually even grew during this pandemic. And what are these? As I said earlier, delivery services. But take note on the keyword on demand. So what happened during lockdowns? Delivery of goods and services has been delayed, right? Because transportation mobility is limited. So people wanted something that on demand, the product that they want could be delivered to their doorstep. Thus, all these applications, apps, Lalamove, Grab, on the rise, which delivers goods and services at your own demand. So if you are going to ask me, is there still room to play in this sector here, the online on-demand delivery services? I would tell you there are always room as long as you innovate. You know, if you feel that there are still some frustrations that you have with the current on-demand delivery services in the market, you just innovate that, and then that could be an opportunity for you to enter the market. All right. Another one, of course, meal delivery services. As I've said, dine-in restaurants are suffering. People don't want to dine in because, of course, when you dine in, as they say, as a scientific research would say, the time you unmask yourself, you subject yourself to be exposed to the virus, and the more chances that you get infected. So people decide to stay at home, and of course, we are humans who still need to eat. So the answer is meal delivery services. So there you go, Grab Food, all these other Food Panda on the rise. Now, if you're gonna ask me, is there still a room for that? As I mentioned earlier, you find the frustration, you find the frustrations of the customers, and then you address that, then that could be an opportunity for you right there. Water refilling stations, of course, because water is a basic need. No, so this has been growing too. I remember when we were locked down, all I could think of is I need to have a good inventory or stock of water anytime, because I have this fear of running out of water. So always, every time, regularly, we order water. But another opportunity that came in response to this are water purification system, because they're saying now that water, the water that is being delivered to your houses could actually be subject to cross contamination too. You know, the people handling your containers and all that, maybe they have the virus, and they touch the container, and then you also touch the container, and the virus went to you. So now some people are saying you might as well install a water purification system, so that you don't need to have water delivered. The water in your tap, you could drink that. You just need to purify that at your own home. All right. So these are also opportunities that rose because of the situation that we're in. Drugstores and pharmacies, of course, no. But what happened here? Because during pandemic, of course, we wanted to stock on some supplements, some medications as well, just in case, we get sick. But the problem is, if you want to go to pharmacies and drugstores, you still are going to be exposed. You still are going to meet people, the cashier, the sales lady, and all that. So what drugstores and pharmacies are doing now is they're offering delivery services too. I remember I wanted to buy melatonin. So the melatonin that I wanted to buy, and zinc, the usual supplements against COVID, vitamin C, I just had it delivered. No, the pharmacy, I called and they had it delivered. There are even other individuals who are saying over the selling supplements as well. They just have it delivered. So that's how these drugstores and pharmacies, even if there's a pandemic, has been growing as a business too. Wines and liquor stores. So bisag pandemic, so we still need to drink. No, some people still need to drink. No, so I was shocked actually to know that wines and liquors were still going. Yes, although bars and clubs have been shut down, or limited, you'd be surprised that wines and liquors sales has been going up. And the reason why this happened is because people stayed at home. They had nothing to do. Of course, some of them would still enjoy some bit of alcohol. They had it delivered to their home. So all these wines and liquor stores, they've also innovated their way of operating their business by doing deliveries. Okay, I recall there's this wine ambulance that I've heard also. Anytime you are in dire need of alcohol, they just deliver to you that at your doorstep. So there you go. Of course, the pandemic has made everyone conscious of their health and wellness. So products which has addressed health and wellness are also on the rise. And not only this, also exercise products. Exercise products, home machines that you could use to keep on your exercise, they're also on the rise. Cleaning services is also an opportunity because scientific research would also say that you could also contract the virus from surfaces, right? So glass, for example, the virus could last for 5 days, copper 4 hours. So thus the need to really deeply clean surfaces. And I don't know, but in social media, I see a lot of this misting, services to clean the car or to clean the room. They do that, or the UV light and all that. These are businesses on the rise too. Laundry is also growing. Laundry services are growing. This wouldn't be a problem for people who would have washing machines at their homes, because you could just do the laundry on your own. But for those who do not have the space, the opportunity now is to make sure that they still have clean clothes even without them going to the laundry shop, right? Because if you go to the laundry shop, you again get exposed. So the more successful laundry shops now are the ones who offer pick up and deliver. So they pick up your laundry and deliver it. Maybe add a little bit of charge for the pick up and delivery, but that's what's happening now. That's a trend now for those who don't have washing machines. Personal hygiene, alcohols, hand sanitizers are also on the rise, of course. I've heard that IPI got billions of sales because of that. And we still anticipate for this to grow even after the pandemic has ended. For the medical sector, people are scared to go to hospitals and clinics. So telehealth service is on the rise. Doctors would also prefer that before seeing their clients, they do their checkups online and probably do a physical checkup once they've already established that it's safe to see the patient. So this is also on the rise as well. Now, because everyone got locked down, people went self-reflecting and looking at their what they enjoy doing in their comforts of their own home. So baking, which used to be big but has become bigger during the pandemic, baking supplies, this business is also on the rise because people, to relieve themselves from stress, have gone into baking. And some even went as far as selling the products they bake out there. So baking supplies is on the rise. Groceries and convenience stores. So because of dine-in, not suitable anymore, not safe anymore, very much, people go to groceries and convenience stores and buy their own food. And they cook it at home, right? They cook their own food at home. I tried it during the lockdown period around GCQ. We tried cooking pad thai, and we even to a point of selling that. And to our surprise, we were actually able to sell. And of course, we only did that because we had nothing to do. But there you go. People, since they are locked down, they're in their own unit, they go to these activities to make sure their mental health is they're still sane, to make the long story short. Now, since people don't spend too much on themselves, they also look at their pets. So pet supply stores are also going up. The businesses here are going up. I have a friend who was, I was shocked to know that her pet, she bought a diffuser and an essential oil specifically for her pet so that her pet would get calmed down. Imagine that. Okay. So these are things that we don't normally buy, but once we're locked down, we only see our pet in our unit or in our home, we tend to buy this stuff. So that's also on the rise. And health and beauty, because salons are closed, people tended to do their health and beauty regimen at home. In fact, myself, I just bought a home spa. So instead of going to the derma, you do that process in the comfort of your own home. So these are the businesses which have grown during the pandemic. And even after the pandemic, we see that these businesses are going to continuously grow. Now, the key word here is innovation. Of course, if you want to get in, and there are already players in these sectors that you want to get into, the best way to stand out is really innovate. Look at the needs and the frustrations of the customers or the buyers, their frustrations of the current services that they have, and then innovate, address those, and those could be opportunities for you to get into. And lastly, gardening supplies. If you take a look at my background, I was never into plants, but since experiencing an 8-9 month lockdown, you have nothing to do. You cannot just watch Netflix every time. You have to relieve your stress, and I tell you, gardening could do that as well. So there you go. I am a certified plantito now, right? So suppliers, you might want to get into this, manures or the plants themselves or the tools that are needed for gardening. These are opportunities for you to get into. All right. So there you go. So many opportunities. As I've said, some businesses will fold, some businesses will slow down, but there are those which are growing, and there are those which are continuously going to grow. And watch out for those. You might have the appetite for those businesses. Go, but make sure that you innovate. Now, going back to the slide that I've shown you, let's take a look at real estate. It's very unique, as I've said, because unlike utilities and food, which are basic, real estate is also basic because it's a need for shelter, but it's something that is not as urgent as, say, buying a food or water. So if you take a look at that graph, it falls in between short term and medium term. So what does this mean? The bounce back for real estate will not happen in the first few 6 months. And that's true. Most of the real estate companies, the developers, during the pandemic has also suffered. But take a look at that. It will not last that long. The bounce back is going to be very, very soon. And in fact, me, because I'm in the real estate industry, I already see the trend that sales are picking up. People are buying again. But for us here who's tuned in to this webinar, it's very crucial that this point is a make or break point. This is our window of opportunity, because very, very soon real estate will be back at its normal. So while it's still not there, we should take it as an opportunity to consider into investing. I'm going to show you why later. Okay, what are the opportunities here? Of course, since there's pandemic, there's crisis, people need money, people need cash. Some property owners discounted the sale of their property. And I've seen this. You just do online, you just surf online, look for properties. You would see that this used to be price. This area used to be priced at this, but this property is sold below the market price. That's true. That's happening. Okay? So if you have the money, kung naay kwarta, go ahead. Just make sure that you've done your due diligence. You know, the location's good, titles are clean, you know. And again, if you have the cash to spare, get the property that you think will appreciate in value later on. Now, the challenge for this though, although people are selling their properties at a lower price, they're also asking for cash payment. So if the property's market value used to be 5 million, now they're selling, because it's pandemic, they're selling at 4 million. It might be discounted, but they will ask from you, the sellers, the owners will ask from you 4 million cash. So that's a challenge there. Now the question is, do you have that or don't you have that, right? If you do, you have more than 4 million, you have more cash, go ahead. But if not, the other option for you is go or look into what developers, what real estate developers are offering. Because now, if you scan around, a lot of developers are offering discounts and or easy payment terms. Most developers that I notice, they are making the amortizations more affordable so that, you know, buyers, customers would lock in. Take, for example, Mandani Bay, which is our sponsor today, right? Mandani Bay Key, prior to the pandemic, the average monthly amortization was around 25,000 peso a month. It's 12/12, it's a sale day, you know. So they've decided they're gonna lower it to 15,000 peso a month. That's the monthly amortization, for as low as 15,000 a month. But this is only good up to December 15. So imagine getting a unit here from around 23, 25,000, you could get it as low as 15,000 now. But notice, this is offered on a limited basis only from today up to December 15. Okay, so if you have that, if you have 15,000 a month to spare, this is a window of opportunity for you, because I tell you, the next few months to come in, all these developers would go back to their usual payment terms. Okay, Mandani would go back to like 25, 30,000 peso a month. So this is a window of opportunity for everyone. And another opportunity is, of course, the infrastructure project of the government. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this because for the past 50 years of the Philippine government, only 2.6% on the average was spent on infrastructure. But this Duterte government, whether you like him or you hate him, starting 2017, has put on a budget of 5.3. This is more than double the budget for the past 50 years. Thus, the Build, Build, Build program. I think what Duterte wants is for people to remember his administration as someone who's, you know, improved the infrastructure in the Philippines. And this is translating into this. The map that you see on the right side, these are the major projects in the Philippines. Okay? Since we're here in Cebu, let's take a look at the major projects to watch out for. Okay? Remember that infrastructure unlocks the value of property. What do we mean? What do I mean by that? When I was young, my father and his parents had a lot in the city, but this is like a swampy area, no? So at that time in the 80s, the price for that, he was saying, was just around 150 pesos per square meter. Imagine. Okay. In the 90s, the government decided to put a highway beside our property, because that highway made our property accessible. From 150 pesos, it went up to 14,000 peso per square meter in the 90s. Imagine the increase, all right? And now that 14,000 peso per square meter, the last thing I've heard, they're already selling at 75, 80,000 per square meter now, from 150 pesos per square meter in the mid-80s, all right? So what we're saying is, if you want to consider real estate, it would be wise to also be aware of the infrastructures out there that are going to be built up. Because if your property will be near, accessible to that infrastructure, I'm telling you ahead, that is gonna be very good for you. The value will soar, and you'll be very happy. All right. So what are these projects in Cebu? The very obvious is, of course, the Mactan Cebu Airport expansion. This has been open to the public on June of 2018, right? And this has already gained a lot of attention and awards, international awards. In fact, this has even beaten Changi in Singapore because of its very exquisite design, no? So, but this airport that we have, although it's good, it's not the end of the story. Okay? See how beautiful that is? That is actually just phase one. There will still be a phase two, which is that second runway that you see. So they're going to be placing a second runway for more planes to be able to land at the airport. And the third phase is a third terminal for more people to check in, right? So the whole project will go as far as 2030. And this is on the anticipation that at that time, more tourists, more visitors would come to Cebu. Why? Because the past few years, we have already seen the trend. Tourism has been growing by 17% prior to pandemic. So people have been noticing Cebu. In fact, there's no reason not to, because if you read the travel magazines, Cebu is always on top 10, top 5. This year, it's the #1 best island in the world, according to Condé Nast magazine. So there's a lot of tourists going to Cebu. That's why, the government has decided we're going to expand the airport to accommodate these tourists, because the old one could only accommodate 4 million passengers a year. Yet in 2022, the expectation is we would be accommodating around 12 million tourists already, 3 times the size. That's why they had to expedite Terminal 2 and then later on Terminal 3, and of course the second one. So why is this a window of opportunity? If you're into real estate, the more visitors that come here, of course, tourists, business visitors, when they come to a place, the one thing that they would look for are places to stay. These are your properties. These are your real estates. Okay? So that is expected to be growing, and this will definitely help the accommodation of these tourists and business travelers to Cebu. All right? Now, another project is the Mactan Cebu International Airport, the Metro Cebu Expressway. Sorry for that. So this Metro Cebu Expressway, this is a 74-kilometer road, the red line that you see, which will run almost parallel to the National Highway. The green line is the National Highway of Cebu. The problem, of course, and this is not new to everyone, we are experiencing worsening traffic in Cebu. I think the only time that there's no traffic is a Manny Pacquiao game or during the ECQ, right? But now that it's more relaxed, the last 2 nights, traffic was very heavy. So because of this traffic, accessibility to places are limited. That's why this project, Metro Cebu Expressway, if you check that out, this will run across the north from Danao to the south in Naga. That 74-kilometer road will be an expressway. So if you decide to travel from north to south, you now have the option not to take the national highway, but take this. It will be faster for you. Why? Currently, if you take the national highway and drive from Danao to Naga, probably will take you 4 hours. But with this expressway, it will be cut to less than 1.5 hours. All right. So how is this going to be an opportunity for us? Going to be an opportunity if you find properties which will be near or along the Metro Cebu Expressway. That would be good, especially if you can still buy those properties cheap. That's good. But in general, this will really positively affect the real estate industry in Cebu, because the more the lesser the traffic is, the more economic activities, more efficient, more businesses would be thriving. All right. A few more pictures of that Metro Cebu Expressway. By the way, the budget for this is around 50 billion, and this has already been started since 2018. So this is ongoing, and this will be completed in 2 years' time. By 2022, they would now open this. Personally, I'm very excited about this project. Why? Because having been born and raised in Cebu, you know, we would love to go to the north or the south to enjoy the white beaches, because sa Cebu, the white beaches you would actually see in the north and south, no? Not so much in the Mactan area. Well, there are still a few white sand there, but not very natural. They get it from somewhere else. So with this, I'm particularly happy because driving north to south now, probably 3 hours, 4 hours time, but with this Metro Cebu Expressway, I'm hoping that there will be significantly cut. No? So these are a few photos. As I've said, it's already ongoing, and I'm very excited about this. Hopefully the weekends in the next few years will be spent in white beaches in the north and south of Cebu. Another big project that Cebu has is the Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway, or the third bridge. Now, this third bridge is going to connect the SRP South Road properties to Cordova. So the benefit for this is that people from the south, like Glanilla, San Fernando, Talisay, instead of passing by Cebu City and Mandaue City, going to the airport or going to Mactan, they no longer need to. They just take this third bridge, and there they could be in their destination already. All right. So if people from the south will take this, they will not pass by Cebu City and Mandaue City. That means traffic in the city will be lessened as well. All right. So now look at that. They're saying that they're 70% done. By end of next year, this third bridge will be open to the public. This is also a very exciting time, especially for people in the south. Another project, another infrastructure project that is worth mentioning is the very controversial BRT, no? Bus Rapid Transit. Okay, what is that? These are a series of, these are buses that will be deployed in our streets. But the unique thing about this is these buses would have their own lanes and will have their own stations where they could load and unload passengers. Similar to what we see in like first world countries like Hong Kong or Singapore, or go to Australia, they have these, right? So when they say the bus will arrive at 8 a.m., it really does arrive at 8 a.m. It doesn't get stuck on traffic. There will be less delays. Why? Because they have a lane on their own. So we will be deploying this. And the update for this one is this is already budgeted, and the government is already finalizing the buying of the right of way so they could have all those stations in place. All right. So in the next few months, we would see buses running in their own lanes now. However, this will be implemented to streets which will have 6 lanes or more. Okay. Narrower streets that will only have like 4 lanes, no buses will be allowed there. Why? Because if you do that, then you would take out 2 lanes for the bus. And so the private vehicles will be left with 2 lanes. So that will, even with the volume of private vehicles that Cebu has, that will also worsen the traffic. So thus, this will only be implemented to 6 lanes and up. For narrower roads, the government is looking at complementing the buses with the monorail. However, let me warn you not to expect too much because this is still on feasibility. The buses, BRT is already done, that's budgeted and for implementation, but the monorail is still on feasibility. They're still looking for budget for this. At the same time, they're looking on how to properly implement this on the most efficient, quickest way possible. All right. Showing you now the route for the buses, the BRT. It will run from Bulacau up to Talamban. This is the first phase. So, but people in Mandaue will also even be benefited. Why? Because even if the buses will run through Cebu City, there will be distributor roads. So these distributor roads will have feeder services. The feeder services are like jeepneys or beeps that would take you from the route of the bus to the places where you want to go. So if you check Mandaue, even if it goes to Talamban, you could still avail of the service, then stop somewhere in Mabolo and take your beep going to Mandaue. So this will make transportation in Cebu a lot easier. All right. The fifth infrastructure project that we're very excited about, and this is something that we are first to talk about this from the beginning of 2019, is the Fort Bridge. Now, the Fort Bridge is a 2-pronged project. This is a bridge, the Fort Bridge, but this will be connected to a coastal road, which will be called Mandaue Coastal Road. The blue line that you see there is the coastal road, and that will be connected to the Fort Bridge at the foot of the Kansaga Bridge, right? So this is very exciting. Why? Because that Fort Bridge right there that you see will land directly to the airport road, right? And since that is connected to the coastal road, and that coastal road will start along Uwano Avenue, very near, if you're familiar with Bay Hotel, right after Bay Hotel, it will start to go up. The coastal road will start to go up. So from Uwano Avenue going to the airport, if you drive now, probably will take you 30 minutes. That will be cut to just around 5 minutes time. Okay? And take a notice, Mandani Bay, our sponsor, is very, very near the start of the Mandaue Coastal Road. So say if you live in Mandani Bay and you want to drive to the airport, now give or take 30 minutes, right? But once this is already there, that drive from Mandani to the airport, would be just roughly around 5 minutes. So these, again, are opportunities for us. So if you still don't have a property here in Mandani Bay, maybe this is the best time. I would say the best time to really think about it. They're offering easy payment terms, and in the next few years, this infrastructure will be there, which will, make the value of the property go up. So this is the best window of opportunity for us. These are just a few photos of the coastal road. You see that the coastal road will sit on the Mactan channel. That's why this is quicker to implement. Unlike putting a road on existing land, which will entail a lot of legal issues because, you know, landowners would negotiate on the price of their land and all that. This is quicker to implement because it will sit on top of the Mactan channel, which is owned by the government. Okay, so that coastal road will go under the first bridge, the Osmeña Bridge, and it will go over the second bridge or the Marcelo Fernan Bridge. So like a roller coaster. Okay, and at the interchange, which is near the Kansaga Bridge, it will now connect to the Port Bridge. Okay, that is the Port Bridge right there. And as I mentioned earlier, that Port Bridge will not land anywhere but on the airport road. So imagine this. You drive from Mandani Bay, just right after Bay Hotel, you go up the coastal road, and then a few minutes, you're already near the foot of the Kansaga Bridge. You take the Port Bridge because that's directly connected, and you land directly to the airport road. In 5 minutes time, you're in the airport. All right. What is the status of that? The good news is, this has already been the headlines of some newspapers. This is an approved project. They have already found a financier of this project, which is JICA. JICA is the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, the same financier for the second bridge. No? And since September this year, they have already, the DPWH has already conducted the detailed design study. So what is that? It's a technical study of how to implement the bridge so that, you know, once it's finalized, they are now going to be ready to bid that out to contractors. So once after bidding, they will start to construct. So you will ask me, when Audi will this fourth bridge be up? According to DPWH, around 2027, 7 years from now, probably 6 because it's already 2021, a few days from now. 6 years from now, this project will already be there. A little bit longer compared to, say, the third bridge. Why? Because this, remember, this is a two-pronged project. This is a coastal road connected to the fourth bridge. So it will take a longer time to finish. But 2027, you know, time will just pass, and by the time it's already 2027, you probably have already earned a lot from the value appreciation of your Mandani Bay property. All right. And lastly, the last big project that I'm going to share with you, which I'm very, very excited about. Why? Because this is a project not by the national government, but by the local government, the city of Mandaue. And this time around, they have partnered with Mandani Bay, our sponsor. So what is this project? This is the word classification. What does it mean? They would want to make, the aim is to make F. Iswillig Avenue world class. All right? So they're going to make it world class. They're going to beautify that area right there. Where is F. Iswillig Avenue? If you're familiar of the North Reclamation area, the main road right there, that's called the Uwano Avenue. Now that Uwano Avenue, parallel to that, if you're coming from Cebu City, on the right side of that, that's Zwillig Avenue. Around 1.5 kilometer stretch of a highway, that's Zwillig Avenue. All right, you see that? That is the site. And what's going to happen there is going to be very, very exciting. Why? Look at that. Currently, if you go there now, you see, you know, the roads are big, but the landscaping is not that good. There is maybe a lot of dust as well. So the project which will happen next year, the implementation of which will happen next year, will have these components. So there will be sidewalks, and some of that will be landscape too. The main island, which is around 2 meters wide, will also be beautifully landscaped. And take notes, the utilities will be placed underground along Zwillig Avenue. So you will no longer see Beko posts right there or telecom posts, because they will all be placed underground. Okay. On the island, some landscaping will also be happening. So look at this. Currently, it's a 9-meter road, so they will retain that. So it's like a six lane road, 3 and 3, right? But the sidewalk would be paved, and there will also be greens there. But the island, this is the main thing, the island will also be landscaped beautifully. Now it's landscape, but they've done a poor job there. These are the plant pallets that gonna be placed along that island. Bougainvillea, because they thrive, whether it's rainy or hot, no, in different colors. They will also use date palm. I like this. You know, if you've been to the Middle East, if you've been to like Dubai or Abu Dhabi, really nice date palms on the island. They'll be placing that there. And also Dita trees. Dita trees, which has this yellow flowers, small flowers. They will also place that along the islands of Swili. So it will look like that. Look at that. If you've been there, you won't be impressed, but after this project has been done, that area, I would say, it would feel like walking in streets of maybe Singapore or Hong Kong or Abu Dhabi, no? Because you see a lot of date plants there. Okay. This is the crossing of Potenciano Larrazabal Avenue and at Izuili. So you would see that it's going to be very landscape. So that area right there is going to have a lot of world classification. I've also heard some news that the North Reclamation Area is set to be renamed. No, because North Reclamation Area, that has been the name for how many years now, and it doesn't speak of what's happening in the area. If you've been to North Reclamation, there's a lot of developments happening. No, big hospitals are there, Chonghua, UCMed, big schools, good doctors, Singapore International Schools, a mall, a hotel. So developments are happening in the area. So they're going to rename that, and I've heard that they're going to rename it as the Mandaue Central Business District. So this area right here will be Mandaue CBD. All right. So once that happens, guys, prices here, it has already gone up. But once all of these will be laid out and executed and implemented, I tell you, properties here will continue to rise. So this is our window of opportunity, especially our project Mandani Bay. If you want to consider that, there are so many great infrastructures here that would positively affect the project. So as I've said, infrastructure unlocks the value of real estate. This is the best time, your window of opportunity to invest into real estate. That's all. Thank you so much, OJ.
Thank you so much, Sir Audi, for that very informative and interesting presentation. Again, as you mentioned, 12 amazing deals are available now, which you can grab and score, of course. And more than those valuable items that maybe you have grabbed online, which may increase your productivity. Amazing deals ang offer sa Mandani Bay karon. As low as 15,000 a month. What are you waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, thank you so much, Sir Audi. And more than those valuable items, hearing from Sir Audi, those valuable information nga atong nakuha karong buntaga, these golden nuggets would really go a long way for us being wise investors in the future. Now we will be joined by Sir Audi in just a few moments in our Q&A panel. And if you have questions yourselves, please comment down sa ato ang Zoom, or type them on our comment section on Facebook, or you can just send us a private message and we will try to address them later on. Again, Sir Audi Villa truly showed us how Mandani Bay is positioned to transform Cebu into a world-class lifestyle destination. Master plan to the finest details for an unparalleled living experience. Now, here are some reasons to enjoy Mandani Bay. First, it has a powerhouse developer. Mandani Bay is the flagship project of the joint venture company of Hong Kong Land, international premium property developer, and Taft Properties. Vixel Development Corporation owned real estate leader in the Philippines, meaning you can trust them, you can put your faith in them, and they will deliver. And maybe some of you passed by Mandani Bay the past few months, despite the pandemic, development and construction has been still ongoing. So again, you can put your trust in these developers. Next, premium location. Mandani Bay is sited between the cities of Cebu, the Philippines' oldest city and main domestic shipping port, and Mandaue, a significant center of trade and commerce in the Visayas. And as what Sir Audi showed us a while ago, the infrastructures coming our way that would directly impact Mandani Bay one way or another, whether you are commuting or you own a private vehicle. Rest assured, because of these infrastructures, your investment will really, the value of your investment will truly rise in the coming years. Next, speaking of investments, impressive scale. The entire development spans 20 hectares, will have 21 towers, and will be completed in 10 to 15 years. Now, the property is especially set apart by its impressive master plan, a design for residential, hotel, commercial, and office components to seamlessly blend with expansive lifestyle features and amenities. Again, maybe some of you are wondering, maybe I'm late to the party. Am I late to invest now? Ladies and gentlemen, we are still on our fourth tower out of 21. You are still in the earlier or beginning phase of our development. You're still early to the party. And again, this will be completed in 10 to 15 years, meaning once you invest now, rest assured, in 10 to 15 years, the value of your investment will continue to rise. All right, next, one of my favorites, the element of water. One of the most defining characteristics of Mandani Bay is its harbor side setting. The extensive water frontage stretches 500 meters, and the boardwalk that underlies it will feature retail spaces and restaurants. This is the perfect setting for an energizing morning run or an afternoon stroll. Brings into focus the exceptional lifestyle experience that Mandani Bay fosters to its modern community. Now, next, for all of you outdoor enthusiasts, nature junkies, embracing nature, the project champions nature-centeredness and sustainability in every aspect. Now, the 300-meter green promenade, landscape gardens between the buildings, and pocket parks throughout the property bring nature close to everyone in Mandani Bay. Another reason is the interconnectedness. Buildings are linked at the podium level by footbridges. Pedestrians have dedicated walkways separated from roads, and an interconnected basement makes parking easily accessible from any point. Next up, expansive scenery. The Bay View, the beautiful Bay View, includes the Mactan Channel, the sea, the outlying landscape, while the mountain view includes a commanding panorama of the city side and Cebu's mountains in the distance. So Mandani Bay really took advantage and showcases the beauty of the entire island of Cebu. Second to the last, world-class lifestyle. Now, it is designed with a deep understanding of Cebu's passions, adventure, culture, creativity, and water. Now, the project aims to become the central point of social convergence and business activities in Cebu. And last but not least, premium planners. The project is guided by some of the world's most notable land development consultants, planners, and architects. Again, ladies and gentlemen, from today, 12/12, up until the 15th, Mandani Bay offers more affordable amortization packages for all of you as low as 15 pesos a month. Now, indeed, there's a lot of reasons to enjoy Mandani Bay, and we cannot wait to see this vision of world-class transformation come to life here in Cebu. Now, among the many things we're so thrilled to have in Mandani Bay is its first office tower called One Mandani Bay. One Mandani Bay is a 30-story office tower that will embrace an ecologically responsive design and will showcase energy-efficient features and amenities. To know more about One Mandani Bay, let's all watch this.
Mandani Bay, Southeast Asia's upcoming urban landmark, begins a new chapter. For the first time, the development expands its offerings from luxury living spaces to world-class workspaces. The 20-hectare waterfront lifestyle destination presents its premier office building, a tower whose tenants will enjoy the best nature-embracing aspects of Mandani Bay's completely integrated property. Aspects such as green expanses between structures that promote well-being and pedestrian-first urban planning. This office tower strives to become a globally competitive hub for modern companies. A canopy drop-off/pickup area and driveway serves as the entrance, which is fronted by a garden and elevated 2 meters from street level. The grand lobby preludes to the fine spaces that await within the structure. This welcome area is about 500 square meters and has a cafe lounge and an open gallery for exhibits and other events. Prospective tenants may create their perfect workplace size from approximately 196 modular units. Each cut is ever modifiable and combinable with other units to form bigger spaces. Designed by world-class partners in property development and supervised by a top-ranking property manager, the building keeps with international standards in sustainable modern infrastructure. It is registered with the Building for Ecologically Responsive Design Excellence program, committing the tower to environmentally sensitive construction. It is registered with the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, assuring tenants of the fiscal benefits of Mandani Bay as a special economic zone locator. State-of-the-art. Ecologically responsive. Geared for tomorrow. The future of work in Cebu begins at One Mandani Bay.
And there you have it, friends, One Mandani Bay. And right now, I am truly excited to talk with Sir Audi once again in our Q&A panel. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Sir Audi Villa as we open our quick discussion. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to type them in our Q&A panel on Zoom. And if you're watching via Facebook, feel free to comment your questions or send us a private message. Sir Audi, maayong buntag.
Ayong buntag, OJ. How are you?
Doing good. How about you? You have a beautiful background over there.
Yeah. The pandemic has turned me into a plantito, so that's the background.
Well, I guess that explains it. Of course, let's kick off our panel discussion, Sir Audi, from a question from our friend who's watching via Facebook, Henril Moreno. His question is, hi, Audi. What's your view on the exodus of POGO operators in the Philippines and its impact on property, particularly rental yields?
Yes, that's very true. It's been on the news that a lot of these POGOs, the online gaming industry, have been exodusing, meaning to say they've left the country. That's true. In fact, some of the buildings, the condos, especially in the Bay Area in Manila, like majority of a building has been emptied out because of this exodus. So I would say that This could be temporary because this could be due to the pandemic, and once the pandemic is done and we retain our good relationship with China, these are still going to come back. But at this point in time, it's also going to be wise for investors to take a look at projects and where these projects are targeted for. Okay, because some of the developments, like I would say very obviously, Mactan New Town here in Cebu, the development there, of course, that's a mixed-use development, but most of that are going to be buildings for Pogo, right? Some are residential. So if I'm going now knowing that Pogos could live in situations like this, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. Picking on developers or picking on projects rather that would have these kinds of businesses. Mandani Bay, on the contrary, the very first one Mandani Bay office tower, that's a purely corporate tower. No Pogos are allowed there. So because that was on the thought that this Pogo industry is not very, I would say stable right now. They could go anytime. So that's why the management team of Mandani Bay decided, no, we're not gonna do Pogo for now. It's a very volatile industry for now. So you have to pick the project. So if that project would want to attract these kinds of business, probably be a little cautious on that. Go for projects which have a more long-term residency. Like if they're there to attract the local people or expats or what have you, which will stay in the longer term.
So as an investor, you have to pick a project or a developer with considering their target market, which would align to the very objective of your investment.
Correct. Yeah. And be aware, because if again some developers, because that's where the money is, they build all those offices for them, but not really realizing at the back of their minds that this could be temporary. So stick to the ones which have more long term when it comes to planning. They want to attract more people, residents, which will stay longer in the development.
I agree. Next question from Zoom is from Ram. Now, how does Mandani Bay prepare for mass traffic, noise of big trucks, given it's very close to the piers?
Okay, Mandani Bay sits along Episwillig Avenue. That is a 6-lane road, as I mentioned earlier. That will be beautified, world class. There will be world classification there, so that's exciting. But it's also a reality. If it's going to be a highway, big trucks, not only big and small vehicles would also pass there. So, but the nice thing about Mandani Bay, whenever it goes into any project or any tower, it would always do a lot of due diligence and consideration before implementing whatever they have to, any elements for the buildings. So in this case, buildings along Mandani Bay, buildings along Episwillig, we anticipate already that they could probably experience some noise from the vehicular traffic. So most of the units there or the building there are double glazed. Their glass panels are double glazed. What will that do?
Wow.
That will significantly minimize, if not eliminate, the traffic, the noise traffic from the outside. So I don't know if you tried being in a unit with a double glazing. When you shut it off, when you close the window, you would feel as if there's this sensation in your ear because it's
deafening sound.
Very empty room. Yeah.
Wow. So to the slightest detail, it is really, or Mandani Bay took into consideration all of these things.
Exactly.
In making the master plan. Wow. Exactly. That's good to know. And of course, I have a couple of questions myself. You mentioned a while ago, of course, 12 to have a lot of opportunities are coming our way. as what I've seen it, being an investor, the market is at a discount right now. As you've said, you've had investment in stocks. It grew at around 20%. I've done the same. And there are discounted properties online. But of course, these properties are still sold at a profit. And Mandani Bay is offering low amortization, which is lighter on the budget, lighter and more friendly in our wallets. Now, as you mentioned, the stock market crashed maybe back in March. Did the value of real estate, well, specifically Mandani Bay, did its value crash or did it hold up?
Good question. Good question. Because everybody's anticipating that, properties in general would go down in terms of value. But that's not what's happening. Because to a very few property owners who are in dire need of cash, probably, again, as I've said, they're willing to discount the sale of their properties. Yeah. But most owners who are moneyed anyway, they have their cash, they don't have to sell their properties to have that. And a lot of them are the ones who own the properties, they're also holding on. Okay. In the case of Mandani Bay, we never discounted the units. So there was no 20, 50% discount. That never happened. Yeah. The reason why we never went there is because even if there was pandemic, there was still sales. And the sales was good enough to still continue the business, right? But at the same time, we also want to protect our promise to the buyers. Because imagine if you buy a property now at 50%, 40% discount, what would the old buyers think? They would say, yeah, oh my God. So we kept the price as is. In fact, December 17, OJ, December 17, yes, Mandani Bay will be increasing the prices.
Wow, so we have to take advantage of the sale from today to the 15th.
Yes. By December 17, prices would increase, and because that's Mandani Bay used to be increasing prices every 3 months, but of course, pandemic happened. This is the only time we're increasing it this year. But next year would probably increase 2-3 times. So this is also a good opportunity for anyone who's watching now who's considering to buy a Mandani Bay unit, because there will be a price increase on December 17. And as said earlier, from now up to December 15, they could pay for only as low as 15,000 peso for a unit in Mandani Bay. So
that's great news. That's great news. For all of our investors. Again, as what you said, maybe some of our investors bought a unit maybe 1 or 2 years ago and maybe sold it this year for valid reasons. But I think it's safe to say they still sold it at a profit. It's very heartwarming that even though the value holds up, Mandani Bay is very considerate of what everyone's experiencing and would want everyone, all of our investors, to really grab this opportunity right now, that despite the pandemic, there's this opportunity for affordable investments, more affordable investments in Mandani Bay. And I guess that's safe to say that once I invest in Mandani Bay, I get 1-2 units, it's crash proof. Whatever happens, the value holds up.
We are not even done yet, because the prices has gone up already, and the value has appreciated. But wait until this big elements of Mandani Bay will be there. What am I talking about? Once the boardwalk, that boardwalk, the design of that was done by one of the top firms in Hong Kong, and that's going to be a very nice boardwalk. So once it's already there, maybe first half of 2022, prices would shoot up again. And once that half a kilometer of a park, the Green Promenade, we call it the Green Promenade, is there, another shoot up of the price. So yes, if you could afford 15,000 peso a month, this is your window of opportunity right here.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities are coming our way. And for the investors who are for those beginners who want to have their first investment, and maybe they're thinking, oh, Mandani Bay started way back 3-4 years ago. Maybe I'm late to the party. Are they late, or are we still in the beginning phases of the master plan?
I think you know the answer, OJ. We are the beginning, definitely the beginning. Why? This is going to be a 2021 building project. And we have only launched 6 buildings right now. Okay. If you compare the prices of Mandani Bay versus the other developments of Hong Kong land, I would tell you we are one of the most affordable. And considering the brand of Hong Kong land, okay, so we are, if you're thinking of buying Mandani Bay, this is not too late. In fact, this is, as I've said, a window of opportunity. Why? That 15,000 peso a month, that was the amortization 3 years back.
Wow.
That was the amortization 3 years back. Because hadn't Mandani Bay launched this special promo, the price would have been 25,000 peso a month. So you actually, as an investor right now, it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
You have the 10,000 savings. You could buy, groceries, or you could put that in stocks. It's up to you.
Yeah. So there are a lot of ways in managing how we put our investments, and I think it's safe to say for one who is planning to have his or her first investment, Mandani Bay is a wise investment to have. We are still at our 4th tower out of 21, and everything, the master plan will be completed in 10 to 15 years. So rest assured, in that time, our investments the value of our investments will continue to grow. And as you, Sir Audi, as an investor, putting aside being the AVP for sales for HTLand, as an investor yourself, how excited are you for Mandani Bay?
I used to live in IT Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved, and because I didn't feel the vibe there, it's too much,
Urban.
I felt very stressed there. So many people and all that. But it's also good because at night, there are food on you just go down and you could eat your dinner anytime you want. But I got stressed, so I moved to Cebu Business Park, which is totally the opposite. Because at night, it's like you could hear the cicadas chirping. Okay, so I'm excited about this to move here in Mandani Bay. Why? Because it's gonna be a good balance of residential. So you still feel the quiet, you still feel the hominess of it all, big spaces you can enjoy, but at the same time, the comforts of the urban space. Like you go down the ground, cafes, restaurants, groceries are there. So I think it's a good balance between Cebu IT Park and Cebu Business Park. And not to mention the amenities, OJ. The amenities are overwhelmingly so many amenities. I don't think you will go out of Mandani anymore if you live here.
Yeah, you'll stay here. Everything's here.
Doing the gym, playing badminton, basketball. You'll be busy here.
Safe to say, it's a complete lifestyle destination.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Audi, for sharing with us this valuable information, these golden nuggets with all of us this morning. Truly a productive way to start our weekend. Any last few words for everyone watching?
Well, I'm thanking everyone despite the very busy schedule and despite the 12-12. I know you're excited about that. For tuning in and listening to our golden nuggets, that's what OJ has mentioned. And I hope I'm inviting everyone to visit Mandani Bay. We have our showroom at Epi's Wheeling Avenue. If you haven't been there, you would be missing a lot if you haven't been here and haven't seen the place, because by next year, we'd start to allow the first residents to live in Mandani Bay. And if you haven't been here, I think you just be missing a lot. So I'm inviting everyone. schedule a visit with your sellers. It's free anyway. So, and welcome to Mandani Bay. Thank you, OJ.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Audi. Dagan kaayong salamat for staying with us today. Of course, what are you waiting for? Grab this massive opportunity that Mandani Bay is offering from today up until the 15th. Schedule now or feel free to inquire on our social media platforms. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in with us today. Again, if you have more questions, feel free to message us, and we are more than happy and ready to answer all of your queries. Now, I know that this pandemic has taken a toll on almost everything about our lives, but Mandani Bay is confident that we will rise and overcome any challenge ahead of us. Please stay safe and stay healthy, and together we will move forward. This has been OJ Simafranca. Merry Christmas, everyone, and have a great weekend. Thank you very much.